Now, in recent days, the William Ruto Foundation has been very busy distributing food to suffering, starving Kenyans, affected, of course, by the virus, and the restrictions that it has brought on our country, which have mostly paralyzed economic activity and caused millions of Kenyans to lose their livelihoods. Now, because of the prevailing political circumstances in the country, DP Ruto's team has not trusted the government to distribute its food. And there's also another problem. This food is usually branded very clearly, so that you know where it has come from. And admittedly, this is against the regulations which have been put down by the government over the distribution of relief food anywhere in the country. And although now somebody has shown us the pitfalls of having no regulations, no plan over the distribution of relief food, Kenyans have now clearly seen what can go wrong. Despite all that, starving Kenyans don't care. If you are starving, you wouldn't care. All you want is food. Now, the food is usually the basics of maize flour and sugar. Sometimes with green peas and sometimes with some cooking oil. Now, the thing that was different about Sunday's distribution is that the white Land Cruiser, which was doing the distribution, had its number plates covered with COVID regulation stickers. You know, those stickers that talk about washing your hands, etc., etc. And anybody who was super observant would have noticed immediately that there was something very wrong here. And maybe they would have opted out of taking the relief food from that vehicle with the number plates covered. Now, it is reported that what happened is that the first victims took the sugar and quickly made some tea. The victims say that immediately they tasted the tea, there was a burning sensation in the tongue. And that sensation followed the tea to the throat. Others suffered nausea, headache, and bloated stomachs. Now, samples have already been taken to go and find out exactly what was in this contaminated food. The objective here was clearly to discredit, or in other words, kumaliza DP kabisa. Because if they had done a better job, and if people had not noticed the white Land Cruiser, with the number plates covered, then the story would have come out that the deputy president is distributing food that is not fit for human consumption. Now, there's something else that this tells us very clearly. Some people are extremely upset that the deputy president is distributing food in the president's backyard. Some people are just livid about that. They don't care about the starving Kenyans. All they care is about the politics. And to them, this is a slap in the face to the president. That's what it really is. Or to put it in Kenyan language, hii ni madharau mbaya sana. Madharau. Now, for those who don't know the geography of the area very well, there's another very important point to note in mitigation. We have politicians in the Kiambu area who are staunch supporters of the deputy president. For instance, the MP of the area, Kimani Ichung'wah, he was the MP for Kikuyu. We also have Dagoretti South legislator, John Kiarie, who is firmly in the DP Ruto camp. Now, these are ambitious politicians, who would not resist the opportunity to be able to sell themselves to voters in the area. And indeed, some of the DP Ruto branded food that has been distributed usually has these other politicians branded alongside the deputy president. in the food being distributed. And this is a great opportunity for any politician, because this kind of thing, voters do not forget. So that when the elections come along in 2022, they will hardly need to be reminded that this is the politician who stood with them during a very difficult time. Now, this point is a double-edged sword, because opponents of those politicians, people on the ground who have political ambitions in the region, would also not lose an opportunity to bring down their future opponents, or to neutralize efforts by the future opponents to gain ground, win points ahead of a future elections contest. What I'm trying to say is that as investigations are launched to find out the source of this contaminated food, the list of suspects is bound to be very, very long. Suspects as in accomplices, who did not care, to do this very evil thing to Kenyans who are already suffering greatly through no fault of their own. But having said that, we have to remain realistic. Unfortunately in Kenya, this is politics, before it becomes criminal. Unfortunately in Kenya, everything and anything has to do with politics and whose side you are on, which side of the political divide you actually belong to. Those are key considerations, indeed the main considerations, before anybody starts to examine the criminal part of whatever it is you're looking at. Very sad, because it should be the other way around. You deal with crimes before you go into politics, if at all. Indeed, it should be separated completely from politics. Now, a few names have already been thrown around. One of a former member of parliament of the area. Another one of an old school politician. But so far there's no evidence. Because you cannot name people until you have solid evidence that proves that they've been involved. Especially in an incident like this, where there seems to be so much confusion and pointing of fingers. But fortunately, in this incident, especially because the white Land Cruiser that distributed the food was actually spotted, it kind of frustrates those who are behind this evil plan. Somehow, taking latest developments into consideration, the burden of proof has shifted away from the Deputy President's camp, in that most Kenyans, or it's widely believed, that whoever distributed that food was targeting the Deputy President. Sometimes in politics, you can play dirty and do something, that instead of finishing your opponent, actually helps your opponent. And in this case, that is precisely what seems to be happening. This Sunday incident, has gained the Deputy President a lot of new sympathizers, in the Kikuyu area. And indeed, in the country. Because think about it. If they had not done this evil thing, then they would still be ahead in these particular areas. Because in politics, sympathy, sympathy is a very, very powerful weapon. You've heard of people winning an election because of sympathy votes. That has happened mostly in Kenya when somebody passes on and their son or maybe a relative decides to vie in the by-election. They usually win hands down, thanks to something called sympathy votes. And in this case, what these evil people have done is to give DP William Ruto a lot of sympathy. And we're very far away from an election. But it is quite possible, it is quite likely, that in 2022, the deputy president will gain a lot of sympathy votes from the area that he would otherwise not have gotten. That is the truth. There's such a thing as being in a game for so long and growing so old that things overtake you. Oh yes, because in the old days, there was no social media. Therefore, what would have happened when the initial victims realized that there was something wrong with the food? They went immediately into social media and warned the people in the area about the food. In the old days, when there was no social media, this early alert would never have happened. In all likelihood, nobody would have realized that there was a white Toyota Land Cruiser which did most of the damage. Because these days, the media and journalists rely heavily on social media. That's where they get leads, which they follow up on to do stories. In the old days, the media would have remained in the dark. And therefore, this evil plan would have worked like a charm. But today, these tactics, these old, ancient tactics, have been overtaken by time, the times we're living in. That is why sometimes in politics, it is extremely important to know when to retire out of politics. Because now, somebody may easily find themselves in a lot of trouble just because they are doing things ambazo zimepitwa na wakati. Until next time, this is Chris. Kumekucha.